Hey guys, welcome back to Clueless Gamers. I'm Pete.
I'm Dylan.
And we're back to review the last episode in the Skywalker trilogy, Episode 9, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Dylan, it's kind of weird because we started, I think our second video ever together on this channel on Clueless Gamers was Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Which was Episode 7.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was the first Star Wars movie I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, this man broke the rules.
Right? And so I started there and then worked all the way backwards. I've now seen all the movies. I've watched the TV shows. I've read novels. I've read comic books. I've dove way in.
You've become more of a fan than I am. I mean,
I guess so.
I mean, we went to Disney earlier in December, and this man paid the money to build a custom lightsaber at Hollywood Studio.
It was awesome. Definitely,
it was awesome.
If you have a couple $100 to shell out, it's totally worth it. The thing's made out of metal in the handle. It's a really awesome experience. They let you record everything.
Feels weighted.
Yeah,
like it actually
feels. It just looks great, and like it's obviously not something to play with. But having it as a collectible, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this man could attest to what it looked like.
It was definitely worth it if you're a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah, so I've come a long way since that review, I would say.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, we don't have Nick T, who was on that review as well. I don't think he's even seen the movie yet. But as Episode 8, Episode 9 is also mixed, critics and fan-wise. It's pretty split.
See, I would say, though, based on Rotten Tomatoes, where there's been a lot of reviews.
There's been a lot there.
It's been very swapped.
Yeah,
because with the eighth movie, critics gave it over a 90%.
Yeah,
critics loved that movie.
Yeah.
Audience, I think it's in the mid-40s, which is kind of more where I'd rank it.
Yeah,
personally. But with this movie, last I checked, audience has us at an 86%.
Yeah, and then the critics are way down in like the 50s.
Critics have this the lowest movie, lower than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
so critics hate. So
it's even lower than 50.
It really flipped.
Wow.
For the most part, I pretty much am in agreement with the audience.
Yeah.
Which I guess we'll get more into.
Yeah.
But obviously, you have to see the movie yourself. Never go by what critics are saying.
Absolutely.
Unless it's Cats. Never go by what the critics are saying.
I mean, from the trailers, you can tell that movie was going to be bad.
Universal, they're estimating is going to lose like $50 million from that
Some
movie.
things are better left as amazing Broadway plays and not movies.
Who thought that was a good idea?
They literally pulled a video game company. And when the movie was already released, they sent the movie back to get updates on the CGI.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
I mean, they did like a day one patch on a movie that's already out. You just don't do that.
No.
But we're not here to talk about Cats. Maybe one day. But yes, with Star Wars, definitely it flipped. That's why you can't take things like Rotten Tomato, any reviews. You have to kind of calculate a little bit of bias in there, right?
Yeah.
Because there's definitely. I don't think Last Jedi is as good as critics say it is, and I also don't think The Rise of Skywalker is as bad as they say it is.
I agree.
Right? So there's a lot of hidden agendas there, and I think you definitely have to go see a movie for yourself.
Review bombs are a thing too.
Oh,
Happened with Captain Marvel.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
So reviews always do take with a grain of salt.
Definitely take it with a grain of salt, and I always say, I've always been a firm believer of this, especially the last few years.
As we give a review.
Yes. Do not watch reviews or listen to reviews until you see the movie for yourself, because you know what? You go in with preconceived notions. If you read a review, no spoilers, right? You just read a review of someone going, I absolutely hate this movie. You know what? Now you're going to go into that movie and nitpick every single thing because you want to be in line with the general public.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Even if you try not to, subconsciously your brain is going to do it in most people. So just going completely blind as you can. Watch a couple trailers, then jump into the movie. I've always been a firm believer in that.
Completely agree. In the sports world, Shannon Sharp is obviously a big TV personality.
Undisputed.
And he watches every sports game with on mute.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this, but he watches with no color commentary on.
So you don't have any bias.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important in today's age to do that, and I think you kind of highlighted that really well.
Yeah, because I definitely think if you're watching a Cowboys game and Troy Aikman is kind of narrating them, you're going to get a little bit more towards the Cowboys in terms of sway and bias. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
If you've not been by this channel before, basically the way it works is we have a discussion here. Literally, this time it's just two of us here at the table, where we do general impressions. There'll be no spoilers. We jump into some likes and dislikes, and just we bounce all around and have a general discussion about the movie. But we'll totally give you a spoiler warning before that. I mean, the movie came out. What, two and a half weeks ago?
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so, I mean, by now, most people have probably seen it that are watching this review. So, Dill, I guess, without further ado, we'll jump into some general impressions.
Yes.
There's no spoilers, as I said here. General impressions, I like Episode 9 better than 8. That's where I'll start off.
Okay.
I definitely like it.
That might not be saying too much.
Yeah, I definitely like it better than 8. However, 7 is still my favorite movie out of this trilogy.
Okay.
And I think by a pretty decent margin.
Okay.
I feel like I know 7 is a rehash, a lot of episode 4. I still feel like there's enough that they do different there, and I like what the character arcs or character stories of Rey, of Finn, of Poe in episode 7, as opposed to kind of what they've done with them over the last 2 movies, which, for some of these characters, I feel like they've done nothing. Like, I feel like they're the same character that is not progressed, or is not progressed, and we'll get to that in terms of Rey, in a way that I feel was earned.
Yeah.
You know, so episode 9, my general idea is, yeah, there's some awesome shots. There's some great cameo, I would say, lines, because not even really great cameos in this movie. Pretty much everyone in this movie you knew was going to happen. There's some great lines. There's a lot of lore, but I feel like the movie leaves you with way more questions than answers. And being the final movie of the Skywalker saga, I don't like that. Mm. There needs to be a tighter bow wrapped around this. Kind of the way I felt at the end of an episode 3 or the end of an episode 6. I felt like those stories were more cohesive in the way they wrapped up. And this is classic J.J. Abrams of, okay, in episode 7, you could leave a whole bunch of doors open because you have 2 more movies. I don't want doors open in this movie. I want you to answer some things that I still have questions about and explain that. Things that you set up in the dialogue of this said movie in episode 9. Mm-hmm. Feel it was really weird that those weren't answered.
Sure. I'm kind of curious as to what...
Oh, we'll delve in.
Yeah.
We'll definitely delve in.
For me, I mean, I felt like it concluded things pretty well.
Yeah, see? I think we're going to bring interesting perspectives.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I probably, based on your early assessment, enjoyed it more than you did a little bit.
Yeah.
As for which one I like more, 7 or 9, it's very close. I probably would give it to 9 right now, but I might, if I see 9 again, it might change.
Yeah, which is totally fair.
You might like it more, you might dislike it a little more. But I thought it was a good conclusion, and I thought a lot of the things that the 8th movie did in The Last Jedi, I feel like this movie was almost like an apology for
it. Was.
Movie.
It straight up was. It like retconned several major plot points.
And so if you hated that movie, like if you really hated that movie, you'll probably be a little happy with this. But if you didn't mind that movie, because there were some things that like are massive holes. Like I remember in an official Star Wars book, I guess this is spoilery, so we'll wait for this because it has to do with Rey. So we'll
definitely
we'll
jump
wait
into
on that. General impressions, I really don't like to give many general impressions. Right. I just like to get into the spoilery stuff. General impressions, I liked it a lot. I liked it more than I thought I would.
So that's fair, and I think you saying that you liked it more than episode 8, I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, definitely.
I will say, if you've been watching this channel just before we jump into the spoiler section, yes, I did review episode 8 with a whole bunch of friends, a whole bunch of great Star Wars people out there. So if you want to go check that out, go. At the time, I gave Last Jedi a 7. And at that point, I would definitely change my mind there. And you would say, Pete, why would you? Have you been affected by the last 2 years of people just talking so much shit about this movie? No, actually, I've watched the movie several times now myself. It was on Netflix. It just moved it over to Disney+. It just doesn't hold up. And
what would you give it?
Right now, probably 4.5 or 5.
I give it a 5.5.
Yeah, it just... And my friends, that a lot of them that were in that review, we did a whole Star Wars marathon leading up to episode 9. We watched all 8 films, none of the anthology films. And Last Jedi, I just tried to go in with an open mind of like, okay, there's some great scenes in there. Okay, and you cannot deny that the cinematography in the movie is absolutely beautiful. Rian Johnson takes a lot of interesting chances. I say that most of them, just for me as a fan, don't pay off. No. And the things that you do in that movie, of the disrespect that I feel in some ways to characters like Luke, I don't like at all. And I'm glad that episode 9 went in some of the ways it did, so I would definitely revise what I felt about Last Jedi. I definitely don't agree of feeding into the hate, of hating on the literal people, of attacking Rian Johnson on Twitter, or Kelly Marie Tran.
Or Daisy Ridley.
Who played Rose.
You can't condone that.
Yeah, like, because Daisy Ridley had to leave Instagram after that movie.
No, you can't condone that.
Kelly, she was another one, I think, that also left social media.
She did.
You're just playing, those are actors and actresses just playing characters, and you can't attack them for that. And I said that at the time, and I still believe it now, so...
Yeah, anyone who does that is really just shitty.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's been a lot of negativity in the fan base in these last 2 movies. Whatever you thought about this movie, the last movie, this trilogy, down below, just be nice to each other, and we can have general, great discussions.
If you didn't like it, you can express that.
Yeah, just tell us why. Give legitimate reasons instead of just hating on it and saying, "Oh, it's just Disney PC crap." No, give me a reason why you don't like it. That's what I want to hear. So now we're getting into spoilers. Okay, so if you've not seen the movie and you're for reason in this review and you care about spoilers, click off the video, put us in the save for later, and you can come back. All right. So we're gonna jump into likes in 3, 2, 1. Likes wise, I actually have a lot of likes here. I don't believe them when they say that the whole plan this whole time is to bring back Ian McDiarmid to play Emperor Palpatine. Bullshit. Okay, you're bullshitting me. Stop it. It was never a plan. I don't want to hear that was a plan since the beginning. That being said, bringing him back, awesome. Okay, every scene he's in is fantastic. His dialogue is great, even though he goes into God mode in this movie. Like, everything about the Emperor and being basically the bad guy for these 9 films now, as we'll jump into what he's been doing this trilogy. I love it. I think using Ian as someone that thankfully is alive, he's still a part of the original trilogy, and you could bring him back. They voiced him a little bit at the end of Rebels, and now to bring him back in the flesh, I think has been absolutely awesome. I love all the look of the planet that he's on, of the that ancient Sith planet. What was it called? Something like something with an E.
Yeah.
I'll probably think of it.
Needed the tracker to get to it.
Yeah, I'll think of it as the review is going on. But it was great that the Sith temples that are surrounding it, kind of how the horror aspect of every time he's on screen, where you're literally terrified, like when Kylo Ren in the beginning is walking in, and he's going to meet the Emperor. You could hear the Emperor's voice, but not knowing what he's going to look like, not knowing what he's going to do to Kylo, and having just the lightning flash and all the darkness everywhere. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was great kind of scene-setting mood that they added, and then at the end of the movie, having like whatever with Sith ghosts or versions of him chanting in the stands, it was a very eerie, horror-esque scene, I think, that they created that I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
His kind of acolytes of these Sith troopers that had all the red armor, which kind of, that red kind of exactly looks like his Emperor guards back in the day, so I kind of like the homage to that. And then whatever his his kind of cult leaders that were closing in on Rey and Kylo there, which for a second, I thought it was going to be other ancient Sith Lord ghosts that were going to be there. And I think that was a missed opportunity, that they could have done like some Darth Bane, some Darth Revan there. Because even though Siths are not Force ghosts, they can be attached to objects. And so being such a dark side planet and a Sith planet, I felt like there could have been a way you could have wrote or worked around that. Yeah. So that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but I loved every scene he was in. I would definitely start off likes with that.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing. Yeah, he was really the highlight of the movie for me. Although I liked Kylo Ren a lot.
I love Adam Driver. Yeah. He gets a lot of hate in these movies. I really enjoy him.
Well, I gave him a lot of hate in the 7th.
He definitely
I didn't think I think he's a great actor, but I thought his acting was just weird.
Your brother swears by him.
My brother swears by him because my brother believes that he was trying to act like Anakin Skywalker acted in the prequels.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, but it would make sense. Well, even like in the trailer, like you see the fight scenes and they look a little slow. My brother's like, I think he's trying to impersonate how the fight scenes were in the original trilogy because it was slow. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Definitely not the case.
Yeah, my brother did like this movie a lot, but his arc was great. And finally, the Knights of Ren actually are used.
Sort of. I mean, sort
they're
of. Finally there.
Well, they're there, but I genuinely didn't think they were going to be showing up at all.
No.
So the fact that they were in it, at least, was, for me, a positive.
And they were in a decent chunk. The issue is they never say a single line, and they're completely useless. And that's definitely a dislike of mine there. But yes, I'm glad that
they were just there for show. But you know what? I think it's better that at least they showed face.
Yeah, definitely.
And to someone like me, I mean, I didn't even know they had dialogue. I thought they were maybe just silent followers. Of course, you could have given them personality, but
they'll do it in some comic book guarantee.
But again, the fact that in the 8th movie they had no role at all,
nothing,
really kind of, and that's
I don't even know if they mentioned them in the.
I don't think they did, and that's kind of what just is a shame about this whole trilogy, that the two directors were clearly on such different wavelengths.
Which it's bad. It's really bad.
I don't know how that happens.
You got to exchange notes. You're doing a trilogy.
I don't know how that happens.
It's bad.
And Rian Johnson just directed Knives Out, which is getting amazing
reviews.
So it's not like they're both incapable.
No.
I don't know where.
It's almost like there was no communication. And it's something like that not only falls on the directors, it falls on the president of Lucasfilms, Kathleen Kennedy. That you have to. She's not been great in managing directors in the sense of all the problems that went on with Solo, even the reshoots that happened in Rogue One. The episode 9 originally was supposed to be, I believe, directed by Colin Trevorrow. Mm-hmm. Then he fell through. So she's had a lot of problems. So then the original plan was not bringing JJ back for episode 9. That was kind of just the East fans help him kind of tie a bow on this, even though they're kind of skipping episode 8.
Right.
As the president and as the directors, you guys have to have a conversation and sit down about, okay, this is where I want you to go here. Okay, I'm going to do this.
Once a week, you should be doing that.
Something.
Yeah. So
I feel like they never met.
Yeah. So if you told me a report comes out in about a year that says, Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams never
met.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised
Which
at all.
is a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing them was cool, and sure, they didn't really do much in the end, but the fight scene between Kylo Ren and all of them.
That was good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And I love how he abandoned his lightsaber after he had that moment with his dad, and he was using the gun like Han Solo
very
would
Han
use.
Solo-like.
That was amazing. The fan service was incredible.
Yes.
And I'm someone who loves Easter eggs, cameos, fan service.
Definitely.
And maybe that's why this movie, I liked it a lot, because I do really love fan service. And my absolute favorite moment from this movie, and for me, one of the best moments from the entire franchise, which that's saying a lot.
I'm interested to see
and it
what
might be
you say.
something that you dislike, but it has to be when Rey is on the ground in front of Palpatine and she hears all the voices of the
it's great.
Jedi.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
And the last line she hears, correct me if I'm wrong, is "Bring balance to the Force, Rey." And that's Anakin.
Yep.
And that is the last word that Obi-Wan Kenobi says to him before Obi-Wan leaves and he becomes Darth Vader.
Yep.
That was like the last word, that line that he heard while he still had a little bit of humanity left in him. And that's the line he passes on to Rey. I just thought it was incredible.
He said, "Bring balance to the Force as I once did," or something he said like that. Yeah, that was amazing. To bring back, they not only had Hayden Christensen come back, I would have loved to see him as a Force ghost.
I don't think they wanted him acting.
But like, I think he gets a bad rep of what George did with him in the prequels. It wasn't all his fault. He actually is a pretty good actor, if you look it up.
No, he won an award before Star Wars, but then after Star Wars, that killed his career. No one wanted to hire him.
Yeah, but I think he does have. I personally like a lot of the things, especially in episode 3, that he does with Anakin. I like the way
episode 3 was a great movie.
Yeah, I really it's one of my top 5. I love that movie. But to have him, to have Obi-Wan in both versions, because they had the older version from episode 4. And they had Ewan McGregor's version. So to have those moments, you had Kanan, I believe, was in there.
Windu.
Ahsoka, Mace Windu, Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson was in there. Yes. And there was a whole bunch of other. Yoda was also in there.
Yoda was in there.
So to have more of the, I think even Luminara was a Jedi in there. To have all of those major voices to come back and give her the power of all the Jedi to go against the Emperor. I really did enjoy that scene. Yeah. I think it would have been cooler if, like, her and Kylo were there to kind of finish off the Emperor, since he's the Skywalker connection and stuff like that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I just think that in that opportunity, I think at some point in the movie, it would have been so cool to put Hayden Christensen in.
Sure. And a lot of people, especially my brother, think that when Han Solo came to talk to Kylo Ren, that was the perfect time to put him in. Would have
been an amazing moment. I do think initially they were going to put Carrie Fisher in that moment and have her force project kind of like Luke did. Right. And then obviously circumstances they couldn't do that. So they said, hey, let's bring back Harrison Ford.
It could be right.
Because if you notice...
That was still a great moment.
Great scene. It's funny because it made me think of Batman v Superman. When... Clark Kent goes up to the mountain and his dad's been dead for many years and he kind of has this ghost kind of thing where he's talking to him, but it's only out of Clark's memories. That's what it's serving at. It's Clark's memories of how his father's there. The same way Han Solo is in Ben Solo's memories. And he even says, oh, this is just a memory. And so I was like, wow, why is it so familiar? It's familiar because one of the writers of Episode 9 is Chris Terrio, and he also wrote Batman v Superman. So he literally directly stole from himself. He just recycled that idea.
Hey, you can steal from yourself. That's fine.
Yeah, so I had to look that up afterwards, so that was really funny. But to have that moment, I think it would have been... It was great, but you're recycling dialogue as a memory from Episode 7, right? I feel that scene of him talking to Han, talking to his father, and him saying like "Dad," and he's gonna say "I love you," and he says "I know." It went back to that classic cut. I feel like it was a little much on the audience's part. Just because at that point, I already know he's not Kylo Ren anymore. I know he's Ben. And if he turns around and throws that lightsaber into the ocean, okay, I'm like, oh, he's Ben.
Yeah.
I don't need Harrison Ford to tell me that.
Sure.
However, you put Hayden Christensen in there, right? And to go, hey, grandson, like, listen, you were doing exactly as me. Hey, I bet you don't know this, but I turned at the end back to the light. I killed the Emperor. Nobody really knows that except really Luke, and he probably told Leia and Han.
Yeah.
And that was probably a well-kept secret. I did that. You can do that now and defeat him again.
That would have been a better
scene. You could turn the balance.
I agree.
And he would be, and I think it would promote such emotion out of Ben, out of Adam Driver's performance, because he had no idea about that. Mm-hmm. So now realizing that this person he's been trying to idolize almost his entire life, at least his entire adult life since he's turned, he also turned back to the light. The thing he was struggling with the whole time, where he's talking to his grandfather's mask of saying, please, show me again the power of the darkness, and the light's tempting me again. Keep me away from that. There was a reason why you were being pulled there. It's in your blood. You were feeling that you were never like this. And your grandfather, he was good. He did a lot of fucked up shit. And you know what? He came back to the light and saved the galaxy. You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, I
would
feel
like better scene. When I say I love that scene, I also mean the boat fight. I thought that fight was incredibly choreographed.
The action was fantastic. Yeah. And you know what? We finally got what I wanted in this trilogy. Lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
Finally.
And Kylo won that fight, right? Finally lost the battle.
He definitely won that fight.
Yeah.
The only reason that he, quote-unquote, loses is because Leia reaches out to him in the Force.
Right, exactly.
She takes advantage, which smartly she should have. I know I saw some people online saying, oh, that was cowardly. She doesn't know that Kylo is Ben or anything. He could turn around and just cut her head off right there. They're trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
So for her to take advantage, I totally agree with that. But yeah, I felt like he had the overwhelming power.
Yeah.
I at least did from my perspective.
Which is one of the only times during these three movies where you feel like Rey is actually not.
Which is definitely a dislike I have that we can get to. But yeah, the action throughout I thought was fantastic. I thought it was interesting. Even though it's not explained well, and so that's definitely a pet peeve of mine, their Force connection. They say it's a deer or a dire or whatever. It's very rare in the Force, their connection to each other.
Yeah.
The Emperor says. But the ability to pass things to each other?
Yeah, like the lightsabers.
Like, that was, like, it was cool, but it also was, like, one of those things where you kind of have to turn your brain off because they don't explain anything.
Yeah.
But to go back to that Knights of Ren scene, I like when she's able to pass him the other lightsaber.
Oh, that was great.
And, like, how he's able to do that. Because he was getting the shit kicked out of him before that lightsaber.
Yeah.
So, to have that, I like how he used his Force abilities before that, like he was pushing them back. But then to have a lightsaber, he routed them as soon as that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And their connection, I felt like Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley's performance and their emotion with each other through these three movies has been one of the highlights of this new trilogy, the sequels, as they call them.
Yeah.
I feel like, however you believe it is, and however the movie dictates it at the end, I believe they have fantastic chemistry. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic chemistry, but I think they have fantastic chemistry with each other, and I really believe every scene that they're in that, like, they hate each other, or they care about each other, or Rey wants to bring him back to the light and bring out Ben. Like, I love all their scenes. One of the moments I love in Episode 8 is when they're doing the whole elevator scene of, like, imitating Episode 6 of, Luke and Vader going up. Mm-hmm. So, I love every scene that they're in. I love when they're talking later on when they're on the planet where Poe used to be the spice runner, and he meets up with Kerry Russell's character, the bounty hunter, and how they're on that planet and she's on the ship in his actual room with Vader's mask, and how Vader's mask gets sent back down there, and they're having this conversation with each other of just like, he's straight up hunting her everywhere, and she obviously hates that, as back from Episode 7 when she's like, oh, it's tough when you're being hunted by a creature in a mask, right? Is what she says. And every time they meet each other, they bring out that energy. And it continues. They're in the throne room in the second Death Star that was on Endor that we saw, Vader fight Luke in Episode 6.
I was going to say, that was
incredible.
Walking around before he showed up.
Awesome.
Very creepy.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
All those stormtroopers that are just dead in the hallway.
And her seeing the reflection of her dark self, I thought was really cool.
Oh, that was great. It was a Dagobah scene. It was a very Dagobah Episode 5 where Luke sees his own face in Vader. Very similar thing there. Because we get that shot, I think, from the the Star Wars like real footage from Comic-Con where she puts it into double lightsaber, she puts it down, and everyone memed that and did like it as a multi-tool. But I thought it served well in this scene of what she's afraid of after we know she's a Palpatine. And then you have the teeth, like the pointy, like kind of teeth come out of like that evil, like horror element. I really love that.
It was good.
And it makes you wonder in that scene, or at least it did for me, like when Kylo stops the Sith Wayfinder, like, is that their connection? Is he really there? Like, you don't know until he, like, crushes it, and you're like, oh, shit, he's really there.
Right there, yeah.
So I really liked the build-up that they had in those moments. I really enjoyed that. I would say what they did with Leia, what they did with Carrie Fisher, given the tragedy that happened, the limited footage, I thought was great.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with it.
I really enjoyed it. Now, yes, can you tell clearly? Absolutely. You could tell because there'll be some shots from the back where there's clearly a stunt double in. Okay, that was not shot by Carrie Fisher. Because all this is unused footage from episode 7.
Right.
Okay, so you could tell that. You could tell when they write the script that she says a specific line, and they have to write all the script lines around it so it meets up and makes sense with that. It's very obvious. You can totally tell it's happening.
Yeah.
However, given the limited footage they had, I think she served her purpose extremely well. I like how she fades off into the Force, which is something I thought should have happened in episode 8. That I love those scenes there. I love that she uses her final life force to reach out to her son, who clearly cared about her more than his own father.
Yeah.
He definitely had more of a connection with her. He couldn't kill her in episode 8, but he could kill Han in episode 7. I think using that a final time to fully turn him back to the light side, I thought was fantastic. I like the scenes that she had with Daisy Ridley there, of kind of passing on that, Daisy, that Rey is going to be the leader of the Resistance, and that, that she's been training her for over a year. They never make a clear distinction of how long it's been between episode 8 and 9. You would assume it's about a year. That she's been the one training her. You get that flashback scene that she was being trained by Luke, because these day and age, all these movies have to go back and de-age all their actors.
Yeah.
And I thought that was unnecessary that you had to show their faces, but whatever. But to have it that she used to have a lightsaber that they used to train, and that serves purpose of why has the ability to train Rey in the Force.
Yeah.
So I thought all her scenes worked really well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I wished, obviously, she didn't pass, because I think she could have done amazing things in this movie. Apparently, it was reported that she was going to have a huge part in this movie.
I'm sure she
would. I thought that would have been great to see. It's unfortunate we'll never get to see that.
She very well could have been a Force ghost to speak to Kylo, as opposed to Han Solo. And it is a shame. She passed away on a plane, right? Heart attack on a plane, was it?
I don't remember the specific details, but I remember then her mom passed a couple days later, too. It was a really... It was also just unexpected, because she went into the complications of surgery, or whatever I think she had, and that was it.
Sad. Great actress.
But I think they handled her really well.
Yeah.
I think it was a great tribute, I would say, to Carrie Fisher in this movie.
Yeah.
Other likes I had, I like that the band is together for the first time in the sequel. In the sequels, think about it. Poe, Finn Ray, the droids in C-3PO and R2-D2, Chewie, none of them have been all together in any scene throughout any of these movies.
Yeah.
Remember, Poe doesn't meet Rey until literally on the Falcon at the end of 8.
Yeah, you're right.
And we get like a couple lines of dialogue, really nothing. Hey, I'm Poe, I'm Rey, blah.
Yeah.
Right? This is the first time we're seeing real dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah.
You're talking that 2 of the 3 of the trio in the sequels literally don't have meaningful lines of dialogue with each other until the last episode. That's like Leia and Han or something not talking until episode 6.
Yeah, well,
or even Luke and Han. You wouldn't do that.
Well, it just goes back to how really poorly this trilogy was in terms of planning.
In planning, definitely. It just, I don't know. I think there was something special about in this episode of seeing everyone together.
Sure.
And I love that they directly addressed that. Right in the beginning, they tried to do a classic movie trope where Rey's like, I gotta go on my own, I gotta do it myself. And they're like, nah, we're going with you.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it could be dangerous. Yeah, we're going with you.
Yeah.
And so, I like that they just, boom, they skated right past that. They're all together. They're all part of the journey. Mm-hmm. And now, I understand that some parts, they get split up. Finn does his own thing, and then, they think Chewie's dead, and, all that stuff. But they always find each other and come back to each other. There's just this revolving circle of that. Even from their last hug, their last shot, when they come back after defeating him.
Yeah.
I love the chemistry, and I really love actually the chemistry that Oscar Isaac and Daisy really have. And I think it's a shame that they didn't get more work into the last film, because that scene when he first comes back, when him and Finn are hyperspace jumping, because that's a thing now, and they're jumping all those ponds. Very cool visually. It was awesome. And they come back and they're like, yeah, we could really use you out there. And Ray's like, I'm training. And he's like, training for what? And they're like bickering almost like a married couple.
Yeah.
And back and forth. I really feel like those quick, snappy, responses were, really well acted.
They were.
I really love the way they wrote those scenes, too. I mean, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, you felt, I feel like, a little bit of tension between them. I don't think it was, obviously, personal tension. I think it was just more so stress from the actual war that's going on, and tension that, this is how I think is the best way to do it. And Daisy was more like, this is how I think is the best way to do it. And the conflict of interest there, when they're both serving the same team, I think created for some interesting dialogue. Yeah,
I really love that. It was also, I couldn't think of it earlier, Obi-Wan from episode 4, that was Alec Guinness that was playing.
Yeah.
It was just the actor. I still can't think of the Sith planet, so let me know down below. It's something with an E.
Yeah, I tried to look it up, I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but definitely loved all their scenes together. I love that he's like, when he says, what are you training for? And in my head as an audience member, I'm like, you're training for Kylo.
Yeah.
That's what she's training for. He's the only one threat-wise that is going to be holding a lightsaber that she needs to fight against.
Yeah.
And I like that it showed her training of kind of using the kind of episode 4 style where she's putting on the blaster shield, and it has the, kind of Jedi technique of just shooting the laser everywhere, and you have to feel it through the Force, kind of like what Obi-Wan did with Luke.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. I like just seeing her raw power, where she's floating there, and all the rocks are up, which calls back to episode 8. I thought those were all really, really good scenes.
That scene I liked a lot is when her and Kylo are in the desert, and they're doing a Force battle.
Oh, and they're grabbing the ship that they thought Chewie was on?
Yeah, and then, that was kind of a bit of a cop-out, wasn't it? And then Rey's Force lightning comes out. And is that the moment you knew she was a Palpatine?
See, now, when people ask me, what do you think she is? I said, I think it'd be totally cool if, she wasn't from some lineage. Who cares? She's just some girl who has incredible power, kind of like how Anakin started, right? However, I did say one of those things was, I wouldn't be surprised if she's a Palpatine. I never believed she was a Skywalker, she was a Kenobi.
Yeah.
So, when that moment happens with lightning, I'm like, I'm right. She's a freaking Palpatine.
So I got spoiled on 2 things. That was one of them.
That sucks.
Yeah, but
so that was one of the things.
That was one of them. And then the other one, it was written, Kylo Ren gets one-hit KO'd, which didn't really make sense to me. And even seeing the movie, it doesn't really make that much sense. It must be referring to the end.
When the Emperor threw him off the cliff.
And then an image got spoiled of me of Rey as in the dark side.
Okay.
That image got spoiled for me.
With the double lightsaber?
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? For a second, I thought that was actually her.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, is she and I knew that she was a Palpatine. I'm like, is she going to actually fucking turn?
Which would have been really awesome.
That would have been insane.
I think there's things they could have done that they didn't. They played it safe.
Sure.
But yeah, those scenes were great. I will say that, let's shout out more scenes that we like. I love everything of the two of them, of Kylo, who's Ben at that point, and Rey meeting with the Emperor.
Oh, yeah.
So, I said earlier, the Emperor scene's great, but, them actually talking to each other and explaining the connection that they have, sort of explaining the connection they have, and just being like, yeah, granddaughter, they could call you Empress, and you could sit right here on this throne. And that, he initially has the idea of, all right, yeah, I'm just going to pass my life force into you, Sith magic-wise or whatever. Boom, you're going to lead up there. Now all the Sith will live in you.
Yeah.
And then kind of when that moment happens, when he realizes that he could suck the life force out of Ben and Rey, he's like, I'll just rule it myself I was going to in the first place.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed that, and I like how, I wish he had more scenes with Ben, but I like that he still hates the Skywalker lineage. He brings up how he tells him there, in that moment, he tells him that your grandfather betrayed me.
Yeah.
So Ben finally finds out there. I think it would have been better if he found out earlier.
Well, and then another great scene was I'm going to do to you what your father did to me, and he throws.
Yeah. And it's just but the last line in the the writings of Skywalker, goodbye. And you knew as soon as you don't see. Anytime you don't see anything, a general rule of thumb in TV shows or movies, they're not dead. Yeah. That's how I knew Chewie wasn't on that ship.
Right.
Because you don't have a death scene of Chewie going, oh, boom, and the whole thing blows up.
Right.
So you don't have that moment, and you don't have the moment of Kylo, jumping into lava or some shit or falling down a cliff. So he was alive, too, that he was going to climb up. But it's still, I think
he
it's
did die though from it.
Yeah, but well, he died by giving his life force to
That's
Rey.
right. You're right.
And so we can talk about that scene.
Sure.
But I really love that Palpatine is kind of feeling himself a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that he's like, oh, I'm all the Sith. Opens up the roof and is straight killing the fleet, just shooting god level like lightning out the roof.
Yeah.
Destroying hundreds of ships at a time. I mean, we've never seen anything like that.
No, he was just nuts.
Like, that was incredible.
But you also have to realize he just sucked the energy source from
two very powerful beings.
Yeah. From probably at the moment the two most powerful beings in the universe. At least in the movie. Canon.
Right.
We don't know what's going on other planets.
Exactly.
But I think that's safe to say they are two very powerful people.
Well, yeah, whether you agree or disagree with that, they definitely are.
Yeah.
It's just canon, it's fact.
Yeah.
I really love that scene of him shooting it out and kind of him feeling himself and kind of just losing it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I also do love the scene, even though it's completely predictable, like where they're, the rebels or the resistance in this case, they're down and they're out, and, Poe is watching his buddy die over there and everything happen.
Well, it was just like Endgame.
Yeah.
It was literally, when me and my brother walked out, we said that was basically Endgame.
And then all the ships to just show up out of nowhere.
It was the same exact thing.
That Lando could just find them all and that's it. Because for me, that scene was weird, though. Like, I like it, but, like, it's weird, right? Because in Episode 8, in the Battle of Crate, we make clear that no one answers the distress call because if there is anyone out there, they're scared to face down the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while Palpatine's shooting god lightning out of here, even if you don't know that's happening, look at how hard it was to get to that Sith planet. Who in their right mind would go with Lando, who hasn't been a general in 30 years?
He must, maybe if you tell the people, to play devil's advocate, that we either have to act now or every single planet is getting destroyed because they have a fleet of planet destroyers.
Yeah, of course we have to always up the ante, right?
So, well, of course. I know, it gets more and more.
Yeah, we have
soon it's going to be like a universal black hole that's going to be formed.
That's Star 2. Then you have Star Killer Base, like, oh, this is way bigger, right? It destroys it can destroy a whole system at once. Now it's every super Star Destroyer can destroy a planet by itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so maybe if you put out that sort of call, and Lando is obviously, I feel like, a well-known...
Definitely, even though he's been in some kind of hiding for a while.
Yeah, but I feel like if he's making the call, then maybe people realize, oh shit, this is serious.
Yeah.
We gotta go now or we're gonna die anyway.
That's the thing I will tend to believe. I like that you didn't watch Star Wars Rebels.
No.
But the main ship in there is called the Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It's piloted by Hera Syndulla. In this case, it could be Jason Syndulla because she could be dead at this point. You see that ship show up in the background of that battle.
That's
amazing. Even though you don't see the character in live action, you know they were there.
That's incredible.
So I
love Easter eggs.
I love little Easter eggs like that. So and they showed it in the trailer, and I was like, oh shit, there it is. And then I was like, is it gonna be one of those trailer things that they take out in the movie? Nope, it was there.
Good.
So I really did enjoy that. I was purposely looking for that. I like the last scenes of the movie. Of kind of the trio hugging each other and kind of, I wish there was a little more dialogue there. You have the Jessa character, the other girl that was with Finn that they met that was a former stormtrooper. Really thought she served scenes really well. I thought she was a good character.
I read that a Star Wars writer or executive confirmed that was Lando's daughter. Did you read that?
I have not seen that.
Okay.
It could be.
I got that vibe at the end.
He was
weird.
See, I
don't know if that's true.
The vibe was unclear, right? Because you got multiple vibes. It could have been a fatherly vibe. It could have been like a friend vibe of like, hey, let's go find out who you are. Other people were saying, which I totally get, like, was he trying to hit on her? Like, there was like that whole vibe that was going on there.
That was kind of a strange interaction.
It was
but
weird.
It also would have been weird if it was like he just goes, "I'm your father," like that, like
right, and then just cuts away.
Yeah, right, on one basis.
It would have been really strange.
But I read on Twitter, and that again, sometimes Twitter articles are such bull. I didn't click on the article. I just read that a Star Wars executive confirmed that it was his daughter. But I don't know if that's
either
true.
way.
I wanted to see if you heard.
No, I didn't hear that. I doubt it is.
Yeah.
But I did like how they wrapped up kind of that of like, I thought she was a pretty good character, the purpose that she served. I think it serves a larger world building that an entire platoon of stormtroopers just went, yeah, fuck it, we're done. Yeah. We're not doing this anymore. Like this brainwashing bullshit, we're not murdering innocent people, and they just left.
Yeah.
Straight up went to some place, some moon or whatever near Endor, and was like, yeah, we're just going to live here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're deserters as well. So, I think that is something that's not been done in these movies before.
Yeah.
And it kind of calls back to some things like from the Clone Wars where some of the clone troopers, they kind of deserted and were like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live my own life. We've seen some episodes of that. I really like how they do their own thing here with the Stormtroopers. And now that provides a nice connection of Finn. And I like the two interaction, like the interaction those characters have in the multiple scenes that they have of like whether it's destroying the Superstar Destroyers, a communication tower, that's coordinating all the ships or anything else, or them just on the planet itself with the Death Star. I like those scenes a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Of course, you can't make it too easy for, the evil group there. Of course, the atmosphere has to be ridiculous, so the only way to navigate it through is the one ship's communication thing. Of course, you gotta do something like that. Of course. But I like the scenes of riding, horsebacks, even though they weren't horses, they were alien horses, on top of a Star Destroyer that's in air already. Yeah. Like, I thought visually this movie has some incredible shots. Yeah. That JJ really does. And bringing him back, yes, could you argue there's a little too much fan service and it's a little bit over the top sometimes? Yeah, I could argue that sometimes. Sure. But overall, what he did, I did like. I did want to talk to you, though, about specifically the Episode 8 retcons. Yeah. In this movie. Rose, the lightsaber throw, any of Luke's philosophy. Because remember, in Episode 8, he throws a lightsaber over his shoulder, just doesn't give a fuck about his father's weapon and his weapon. And this one, Rey goes to throw it in the fire. He comes out as a Force Ghost and grabs it and goes, "Oh, a Jedi weapon needs to be treated with more respect." That was basically a straight up fuck you to Rian Johnson, that scene. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even... A straight up fuck you that was. Which I completely agree with, because that was by far, I would say, the most hated scene I hated in Episode 8. Yeah. Your dad's weapon, the weapon you use that you haven't seen since Cloud City, that we never got an explanation of how Maz got it, but whatever. It's what these movies do, apparently. They just leave open all these questions. But regardless of however you feel, if you cut yourself off from the Force, you don't want to deal with your Jedi life anymore, you would have just handed it back to Rey. You would have never thrown it over a cliff. Luke would have never done that. Yeah. And just do that for a comedy gag, like, because, it's funny, ha ha ha, look at this gif, we'll just throw it over. No. Yeah. Hate it. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. Hated that. And so, like, they even had the concept art of, like, because the lightsaber's down there, one of the Porgs plays with it and fucking kills another Porg. Don't want it. Like, they could have at least done that. At least it would have had some service. So to kind of retcon that in this movie, I enjoyed that part. Yeah. Do they retcon a little too much and kind of shit all over Rian Johnson? A little bit. I mean, like, let's be real. Episode 8 is canon. Okay, so, like, you can't just rewrite every single thing. He tried to. He literally did, because then we go back to, like, Luke's philosophy of where she's like, "Oh, I'm just going to stay on the island with you." And he's like, "Oh, I was wrong. I was scared. Fear kept me here." I'm like, yeah, but, like, you're not offering any more explanation with that. You gave a lot of explanation in Episode 8 of why the Jedi are kind of a glutton for the light side. Like, you don't have to be a Jedi to appreciate the light side. When, like he said in Episode 8, to say when a Jedi dies, the light dies is vanity. I totally agree with that. Mm-hmm. So, like, to completely retcon that and just like, yeah, fear kept me here, and really no other explanation, a little much. A little fan service. Well, what do you think about Rose's character? I thought they treated her poorly. I thought that was pretty messed up. She had 1 minute and 20 seconds. 1 minute and 20 seconds. I thought it was pretty messed up because I feel like... I feel bad for the actress. I feel bad for the actress after all the shit she dealt with. Yeah. And I also feel like she wasn't bad herself in Episode 8. I just didn't love the writing. The storyline. There was no reason in the world for, especially at the end on Crate, for her to kiss Finn. And then we don't even mention that in this movie that's happened. So I guess it's just like, at some point, he was like, "Yeah, bro, we're just friends." Yeah. Like, at some point in that year. Like, no. Like, if... I have nothing wrong with the character of Jessa, but Rose should have been along for that adventure. Mm-hmm. Whatever you think about her, she's part of the trilogy. You introduce her in 8, she has a significant amount of screen time in Episode 8. She's part of the gang now. Put her in the gang with everybody else. Had more screen time than, like, Poe. I mean, she had a crazy amount of screen time. I really didn't agree with that at all. That was stunning, and to me it almost is like kind of... green-lighting that sort of behavior. Right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, you guys hated Rose? Alright, we won't use her anymore. Right. Okay, well, you're just going to give in to all the trolls out there? Yeah, I did not love how they treated her. No. Especially, like, it was that classic, like, generic line. And I didn't love her character, by the way. No, I didn't love her either. You could definitely go back to Episode 8. Yeah, I thought the character was... But at this point, you've committed. Exactly. And... you kind of... I would have liked to see her used a little more. I mean, you even write in a line.
I was just gonna say she didn't have to be a major character.
No,
but even if you killed her off early on,
no, and she could have fit the Jessa role. Jessa's not a huge character, and she could have exactly fit that role. And to literally, you purposely wrote in a line for Finn to go, "Hey, why don't you come with us?" I'm needed back here. That was basically a fuck you right there. Of like, yeah, we're not gonna use your character at all. Yeah. Like that was ridiculous. That was not needed.
I think it would have served the story better if Rose went with them and Finn had to watch like Rose get killed.
Or something.
That way, at least it's understandable why she's barely in the movie. Yeah. She gets killed off early, and now Finn is on edge because of it, and it's emotional.
Yeah,
but maybe that would have also been. I mean,
there's something that could have been there. Why couldn't she be the one that's helping him on the Star Destroyer destroy the communication tower? All those scenes could have been filled in with her. Yeah, so I didn't love
that. That was the for me, the craziest retcon that happened.
That was crazy.
Just given how much she was in 8.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
When I walked out of the theater, I said to my brother, I was like, man, they did not use Rose at all.
How did he feel about that? Did he indifferent? Like
he was indifferent. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are indifferent.
I think a lot of people love that she wasn't used.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that. Yeah. And they definitely fed into that behavior.
Yeah. And I didn't like the character.
But but still, I just feel like to do that.
Even as a concept now, you are greenlighting trolls like that.
And so they had the other line too, where Hodo does the whole light speed move last, which was an incredibly beautiful cinematic shot when the music cuts out. However, it was ridiculous because like if you could do that all the time, why wouldn't you do that to destroy major enemy fleets all the time? Especially you don't even have to have someone in there. You can just autopilot thing into light speed and it destroys Snoke's ship and all those ships, right? Remember that scene?
Yeah.
You purposely drop a line in this episode where you say, "Oh, why can't we do the Holdo maneuver?" Poe goes, "Oh, that's a 1 in a million shot." So you're saying like that was complete luck that we did that last episode. Everybody shut up. This is not something that's going to be the norm. And so they address that too, of throwing that out there, which I'm glad in some way they do, because that, for me, was a major break in the movie and canon of like...
There were a few things, though, he retconned that I liked a lot. And not really retconned, but like answered. I thought the Snoke stuff, given what was... available. I thought he answered it pretty decently well.
Yeah, he has all the multiple clones. Yeah, I mean, Palpatine answers that.
Yeah, well, and they had to address it immediately because that was another huge issue that people had with 8. Yeah, and I thought given the circumstances, I thought J.J. Abrams did a pretty good job with that. It was a believable explanation.
I feel like it should have been explained more, though.
Well, my brother is 100% convinced that Snoke was always meant to play Palpatine's role in this movie. Snoke was supposed to be like the one below Palpatine, and then just in the 8th movie, Rian Johnson had him killed off.
It could have been that. It could have also been the thing where I think the original plan before the backlash of Episode 8 was, hey, let's circumvent expectations. We'll kill the Emperor-like character. Kylo is the bad. He's not turning back to the light side. He's the bad. Rey's gonna have to kill him.
Yeah.
And maybe as he's dying, he has a light side moment or something like that. That's what should have happened in this movie.
Yeah.
I love Ian McDiarmid. I love them bringing back the Emperor. However, like I said at the beginning, don't bullshit me that was the original plan, because it wasn't.
No.
And so, if you're gonna stick with a plan, which is making Kylo the supreme leader, stick with it. Don't have him flip-flop. Have him stay completely like that. Yeah. And so I definitely didn't like how they did that. I'm glad that if you're going the route of the Emperor, you just answer right off the bat. It does open up questions, though, of did he put some of his life force into Snoke? Is it just a clone of him that looks different? Is it a disciple of his that, like, he made him, but, like, does Snoke have his own thoughts and can, like, rebel against Palpatine? Right. Or he is completely controlled and like mind chip wise to only obey Palpatine.
It answers it at a base level, but not really in depth.
It's like, here's this information, now go fuck yourself. Yeah. And you're like, we'll answer that maybe in a comic or maybe in March when the novel comes out. We'll answer it. Right? Isn't that how you feel?
No, to be honest, it was fine for me. I didn't really mind.
I just feel like, as I said at the beginning, like we have so many moments that are set up that we just leave. It's like hanging chads. Remember that? In the old elections in the early 2000s? That's how I feel. Yeah. That's how I feel with a lot of these parts.
Yeah, I just, based on what 8 was, I feel like I just, with this movie, kind of, I kind of turned my mind off.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed the ride.
He did answer though. He said I've been which was a cool scene. I've been every voice inside your head.
Yeah.
Where you have Snoke's voice, you bring back Andy Serkis. You have obviously Ian McDiarmid's Palpatine, and then you even have James Earl Jones' Vader. So I really enjoyed that. So it kind of answers the question of part of the reasoning of why is not only the mentorship Kylo's had, but these thoughts that have been put into his head, these dark side thoughts have all been engineered by Palpatine.
Palpatine was great.
Yeah, so a lot of retcons. I mean, I'm trying to think. Was there any more? I mean, you could comment down below if we missed any. Was there any other major retcons that they had from 8 that you could think of? I mean, a lot of the island stuff dealt with that. They jumped back to the island. With Luke being a Force ghost, he raised the X-Wing for Rey to get out of there, which I thought Luke was going to do for himself and get to the Battle of Creighton Episode 8. They kind of did it here, the very Yoda Dagobah moment there. Apparently, in these last 2 movies, Force ghosts can be like regular people, and they can just do anything. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter that you're dead. You can just literally do anything. Yeah. Yoda could shoot lightning. You know, Luke could just raise X-Wings like it's no tomorrow. Yeah. He'd catch lightsabers. Like, right. Yeah. So, that it was definitely different. But if there's any other retcons we missed, please let us know down below. We'll probably jump to some other likes when we jump in here into dislikes. So we're going to jump into dislikes now. We'll probably fluctuate back and forth as we have been. Major dislikes, like I said, is...
I want to hear them. I want to rebuttal them.
All right. I don't like how a lot of these questions are created that are not answered.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
As I said, so like the Snoke thing,
sure.
I don't like how that is done there. We're just left with what that is. Okay, the Dire or Deer or whatever that Rey and Kylo have, that connection in the Force. That's the first time anyone's ever mentioned that. Oh, it's the first time it's been heard in centuries. Explain more of that. Nope, we're not going to do that. We never explain how Emperor Palpatine is alive in the first place. No one explains that in this movie. No one. They literally have a line where they're just like, oh, it could be cloning, could be Sith magic. Okay, but what is it, though? Yeah. Like, nobody explains. Like, clearly, I would say it's not a clone that this is Palpatine. He's missing fingers. Yeah. He's blind. He's even more effed up than he normally looks. And then he only gets, his normal, like, even though he still looks hideous, of when he sucks the life force out of Ben and Rey there. But we don't explain anything. We know that the Death Star is on a moon of Endor or whatever, that it's there. He fell down a plasma shaft. The thing exploded in some... How is he alive? Did he have a backup plan? Yeah. I don't know. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is canon, they have like a story after Return of the Jedi that's dealing with like his troops and like he's in like recorded messages and things like that. But he's not there. So you tell me for these 30 years, he's actually... I just thought of the plan. He's been on Exegol. That's the plan. Yep, you're right. He's been on Exegol this whole time. How did he get there? All these people that work for him, all these Sith people, how did he recruit them? How has this been kept secret the whole time? That they have Super Star Destroyers hiding in the ice? I mean, I don't think you needed... I think that was a little unnecessary. That was just for visual. If Exegol is so far in the outer reaches that it takes like some special wayfinder to not die to get there, no one was ever going to find this place. No. So it didn't matter. But they even make that comment in this movie where the First Order officers have no idea what's going on. And they say, oh, hey, are we going to have to recruit new people to fill the Emperor's ships? We don't have that kind of manpower. Here I have all the manpower. From where? From when? Who are all these people? Like, none of that stuff is answered. Sure. It's not clear his connection to the First Order. He says that, okay, he runs the First Order, all that was him, he's doing the whole Final Order. Okay, none of the First Order officers know that, except that one guy that apparently served him in the Empire, which was a random line, that all of a sudden, like, he was the Grand Allegiant General, and it's just like, yeah, as I served you in the Empire, boom, kills Hux, that's it.
That was a cool scene. I like that. Whatever. I like that scene a lot.
We'll get to that. But I just thought that they left a lot of those First Order characters just out to dry. And, like, I know they're not major characters. I know some of them don't even have lines, but, like, they don't even know what the F is going on.
Right.
We don't explain any of that. Shouldn't your emperor, shouldn't he address his people? No. Nothing. Hey, I'm alive. Here you go. Nothing.
Well, I guess he really just wanted to just do it in secret.
I don't know.
And if you tell everyone in the First Order, there's a very good chance that news gets to the public. A very good chance.
Which is another thing that you could bring up. In the opening crawl of this movie...
Yeah, they bring it up.
They bring up that Palpatine's alive.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
That should have not been in the opening crawl.
We also knew, though,
but I don't want that in my opening crawl. Because let's say you're me, right?
And you don't watch
5 years from now, you've not watched trailers, and you're jumping on the Star Wars late. Now you know that's immediately.
True.
To also bring up the fact...
Although, to be fair, it's the very first scene. We see him 5 minutes into the movie.
Which, okay, if we're jumping into that, whatever, right? Why, when Poe and the rest of the characters find out, there's, like, no reaction? They literally are just like, oh, you know, we heard a message, and Palpatine's back. Oh, how is he alive? Oh, cloning, oh, Sith magic. Oh, shit. This is major news. Like, everyone should be like, wait, what the fuck? Like, you don't think it would have been a crazier scene that if there's a message broadcast out to the galaxy, and then the Emperor's just like, my loyal subjects, like, I've returned. And showing to see the characters' faces of everyone, like, shuddering and shaking in fear. That would have been a better scene. Sure. That would have been way better. Sure. You rob the audience of that moment, and you kind of just circumvent everything and just, we'll just shovel this shit in. Like... I don't want that. I want to see character reactions. I want to see people act and emote and express themselves. Yeah. Not just be delivering lines of dialogue. Emperor Palpatine's back. Yeah, you know, whatever. He came back some way. This is how it is. What? Like, you ruined so many moments doing that.
Yeah, it could have definitely been better.
I thought they could have handled that better. Another thing they could have handled better, the whole thing of Finn when he's going down in the sand pit, right, with Rey. Oh, Rey, I have to tell you something, right? They bring that up. He brings it up there. Rey brings it up when they're underground. And, you know, she does her Jedi healing, whatever. We'll talk about that. Of that random war monster. And then Poe brings it up later to him. He never, throughout the whole movie, says exactly what he was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to hear about it on Twitter. I understand John Boyega came out on Twitter and he said, oh, it wasn't going to be I love you, Rey, which many people thought it was going to be.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Apparently... what it was going to be is he was going to tell Rey he was Force sensitive. Which, okay, I get that impression that maybe he has some kind of connection to the Force. I don't know if you heard that. I'm imagining you didn't give your reaction.
But I've seen the meme, which now makes sense.
Right? It's just, what? Like, why would that be the last thing that you have to tell her when you're about to die? Rey, I'm Force sensitive. Okay, who cares? Great.
Well, it might not have been that. So
apparently, no. I think apparently JJ has come out and said that that's what it was. I think one of the writers or someone came out and confirmed that that's what it was.
All right. Well, listen. A dislike that I have is I didn't really love Finn in this movie.
Right?
I didn't really.
And it's Finn. Nothing against John Boyega. They don't do anything with his character. All he does is go Rey.
Yeah, he's a puppy dog following. He's just a puppy dog following Rey around and. No, it's not that the actor performed poorly. It's just, that's how he was written.
And I saw some people out on Twitter go, oh, I don't see it that way. He had a connection with Jessa and the other stormtroopers, and he did that storyline. Sure, he has that one scene, that one moment.
Yeah.
That's really it. He's not, think about the arc that John Boyega's Finn has been on. Episode 7, he renounces the First Order. He has this amazing arc of I just want to run away to I want to find my friend to I'm joining the Resistance, right? Yeah. And people go, oh, well, he's a general now in this new episode. Okay, but what has he done that earned that? In episode 8, he was quote-unquote running away. What was he going to do? Going to find Rey and protect just Rey and make sure she didn't come back to this fleet
why did they go to the casino planet?
Well, that was... Let's not even get started.
Right, but why did they go?
The original was to get a code breaker to break into the First Order ship, the Supreme Leader Snoke ship. They went there, got arrested, didn't get the code breaker that Maz Kanata wanted them to. Instead, they got the code breaker knockoff of Benicio del Toro's character, another fantastic actor that was treated terribly in these sequels. And let's not even talk about that. Canobite is literally terrible. It's a horrible...
One of the worst.
Horrible stretch of movie. Made no sense. And you know what? God bless you.
Thank you.
And you know it sucks, too, because that was one of Rose's main plot points of this whole series.
Well, and that's why
it's terrible.
Yeah.
But he goes and he's trying to look for Rey, and then, Rose zaps him, and it starts that whole Canobite adventure. He's doing the same thing in this episode. He's going along to protect her. Everything's about getting to Rey to protect her. Yeah. Okay, just because you have one scene where you're like, oh, wow, you were also someone who renounced the First Order, and having that connection, that's something that should have happened in episode 8, and then you build on this and create this character arc. Don't give me this bull crap of, oh, hey, he renounced the First Order, he was a stormtrooper, now he's a general. Dude, look at that character arc. Okay, for me, you went like this. There's little hops in there, but you just straight line. I don't feel like he has any major development.
No.
I feel like someone who has major development in these sequels is Poe.
Poe, yeah.
Look at what Poe has done.
Poe is good.
He earned being a general through everything he's learned.
Yeah.
To piloting the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
To riding TIE fighters. He's earned that through these 3 movies. He thought he was right in Episode 8, and Leia and even Hodo, whatever you think about that character, showed him he was wrong.
Right.
Right? He had an actual arc. Tell me the arc Finn had. Tell me the arc, for that matter, that Rey had in these 3 movies.
Yeah.
What? From someone who doesn't know who she is to someone who doesn't know who she is, and then, oh, I'm Palpatine, oh, I'm dead, oh, I'm not dead, okay, yeah, I'm a Skywalker. What arc is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought Rey was... I feel like Rey gets picked on unnecessarily.
Oh, I'll pick on her all day.
I know. And
I love Daisy Ridley, and if you go back and watch the Episode 7 review, she was my favorite character in that entire movie. However, they've done nothing.
Well, in the 8th movie, I didn't love the whole 8th movie.
No, and they haven't done anything with her, and she's supremely powerful. She never loses, as you said earlier.
No, but she
might have lost the Kylo there.
But she did.
But she really didn't, because she stabbed him.
Okay, so technically she didn't lose. Realistically, she lost.
But we never got a conclusion to that fight. It's not like he was over like this.
He had her beat. She lost. She lost that fight.
It's never
and
clear.
She also failed. At least in her mind, she thinks she's trying to save Chewie, and obviously we learn that Chewie's not on the ship.
Yeah.
But she also fails in that moment when she blows up the ship.
Throw us some popcorn failure moments that you think she had. She's all powerful in everything. She's pulling Force ships out of the sky like Force Unleashed. She's a Palpatine, so she's a Palpatine.
So she has that power.
But still, come on. She can force heal because she touches people and can grab. They don't say it, but you know they're thinking of the midichlorians from the Force, and that she could heal anything. When did she learn that power? No one's had that power before in actual canon. Okay, that's just a thing. Who'd she learn that from? I guess she learned it from the old Jedi texts. I guess.
Right.
I don't know. It's not explained.
It's not explained.
You know, so like.
Yeah.
There's things where the best character in these sequels is Poe. There's nothing she does there, and that leads up to the most hated scene for me in this entire movie.
What is it?
She calls herself as Skywalker. Are you fucking kidding me? Get out of here!
Well, listen.
Oh my god!
Listen, I saw they were originally planning that scene. You know, what's your name? Rey. What's your last name? Rey Star Wars. That was the original plan for the scene. No, well, okay. So technically, she is a Skywalker. Kylo Ren transported some of his life into her.
But that doesn't... You don't just transfer your blood into someone and you're a Skywalker. She's only a Skywalker because Luke and Leia trained her.
Sure.
And so she regards herself as the adoption. You see their Force ghosts.
Yeah.
She hasn't earned that. If more so, she's earned it from Leia and not Luke. But she's not a Skywalker.
Well, she defeated the Emperor.
Yeah, but at that point, you should just say it's just Rey, or you should say it's Rey Palpatine, and people will be like, "Oh fuck, you're a Palpatine."
Okay, well, no,
no, because hear me out. You could own that name, and you could transform that name as a positive force in the galaxy, as something good, as opposed to the shit it was.
Come on, that is literally looking at like Adolf Hitler's son and saying you should own that name. And you should change the perspective
I'm saying
of that
that
name.
you could have changed the perspective of Palpatine.
No,
you could have.
But it's not her job to do that. She doesn't need to.
Why? She's the only Jedi left.
She denounced that family.
All right, so then
if you denounced your family, would you call yourself a Vaccaro?
I guess not. But
I wouldn't call myself a Deprano.
But then call yourself Rey then.
Okay, I agree with you.
Then you didn't earn the name Skywalker.
Sure,
the rise of Skywalker is the rise of Ben Solo. He's the only one with Skywalker legitimate.
Yeah, I think you can say that. That's the title.
My friend Andrew, who I hope is watching us, straight up said if that happens, I'm walking out of the movie. As soon as that happens, I see this man sprint up the aisle.
Well, it was the end of the movie.
It was horrible. I hated that.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
I was cringe and a half, and you know it.
It wasn't really that. I didn't think it was that cringy.
Oh,
I was like,
let me know what you thought of that down below.
I didn't think it was that
turned
bad.
my stomach there. I knew she was going to say it.
Well, me too.
The whole movie was so predictable, and I knew she was going to say it, and I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And she says it.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that she wasn't going to say it, because I knew there would be a lot of backlash. I mean, I
wish she just kept it as Rey.
Yeah,
I really do. And I understand the Hitler argument, but I just feel like...
okay, yeah.
I get it.
I agree with you.
It's a galaxy far, far away. Own the name Palpatine and make it something positive.
No.
I think you could have done that.
Come on.
Right? Why not?
Because just think about it in actual context.
I understand that
she hates that name. Yeah. She hates that side of her.
She just found out 2 days ago that she's a Palpatine.
Sure, but she doesn't. You don't need to know that your whole life to hate that name and hate that lineage.
I don't know. Definitely not Skywalker. Definitely
sure,
not
I will agree with you on that. But to change it to Palpatine and own,
I've seen
some
people make some pretty good arguments for that.
No,
I definitely think it's a possibility.
I want those people to make the arguments about the Hitler lineage.
Yeah, well, definitely let us know what you thought of that down below.
Yeah.
I didn't love. I didn't mind her going back to Tatooine. I thought it was great that she buried the lightsabers. Clearly, someone's going to find them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have the whole two suns shot, which is almost the iconic shot that ends episode 3. It doesn't end episode 6, but I mean, we have plenty of it in the original trilogy. I'm not a huge fan that Luke and Leia was standing there as Force Ghosts, just because it was like, it wasn't really needed, and I would have liked more of a last scene of seeing kind of what all the characters were doing, kind of episode 3 where Rey's doing this, Finn's doing this now.
Sure.
It
was solely focused on
Poe
Rey.
was doing this. Like, we get that hug scene, and we never get any explanation of where any of these characters will go. We'll probably never see them again. And there's not even lines of dialogue of what they plan to do now that everything's over.
Yeah.
Then she just pulls a lightsaber out of nowhere that's yellow. And like, okay, how did you create that? Where did you get a kyber crystal from? Is that, it looks like you made it out of part of your staff. Did you? Okay, and we'll never have any stories with probably Rey again. Maybe 20 years from now in episode 10, if that comes out. But there's nothing explained there. And that's, again, where I go back to the more unanswered questions that I don't like.
Sure. And I guess that's personal taste. If you don't... Like, I'm someone who doesn't really mind cliffhangers.
Yeah.
At the end, and if you're someone who wants answers,
I don't need every single answer.
No, but there are a lot of non-answers.
It starts building up after a while, you know. And so, and also, I think if she had a better character arc, I think that moment is earned more with her with the lightsaber.
Sure, I didn't dislike her as much as you did.
No,
that's probably why that scene didn't
I want to make it clear, I don't hate her.
No, there's some people that hate her.
I don't hate her. I just think that she is a character that has wasted potential because they didn't do anything.
Oh, she could have been better.
She just was God level the whole time.
Yeah.
She didn't earn anything. And I know people make the argument that, like, oh, well, Luke was like that. Okay, I don't think so. Luke in episode 4... he couldn't face against Vader. That's why Obi-Wan did it. He lost in episode 5. In episode 6, he had a pretty decent battle with him and only channeled him to his hate to actually beat Vader.
But also her opponent...
and then was losing to the Emperor.
She never faced an opponent as strong as Vader.
No, and she faces Palpatine and kills him instantly, by herself.
Yes,
okay, she has the power of the Jedi behind her. She did it herself.
I'll give you a way to improve that scene, by the way. When she stands up, I want all the Force Ghosts Jedis to be behind her.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a missed opportunity.
That was the one thing that I was like, I really wish
it's the same thing I go back to with the Sith Ghosts. Like, you had so much opportunity for lore. It's the last episode, man. Just to, whatever Rian Johnson did in episode 8, JJ, go all out, bro. Do everything. Contact George. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they missed that. The other major scene I hate in this movie.
Sure.
The kiss scene. Bro.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What are we doing? We're feeding into the internet trolls of Reylo that have been shipping this since episode 7. That's what they call it.
I don't pay attention to that.
No, so I'm deep into it. And, like, come on. That moment happens, right, where I knew she wasn't dead.
So I think I view that scene differently than you do.
How do you view it?
I view it as two people who have been through so much together celebrating the end, celebrating victory.
The end of what? His life? Because he dies immediately.
Celebrating the end of the Emperor and celebrating victory. And so you're overly emotional. You kiss. I mean, you've probably kissed girls before that, just like on the cheek out of happiness.
Yeah, but this is not on the cheek. This is full lips.
Okay,
and it's clearly done because she says, Ben, she has been wanting on this man since, like, episode 8.
Maybe,
clearly.
But I think from his perspective, it's more of a, we did it.
No. You're lying to yourself.
I'm not lying to myself. That's how I viewed it. I didn't view it as like, oh wow, like
they clearly had a hots for each other connection. That's
maybe they did, but like, he knew he was going to die, so
she didn't know that. To me,
he did.
You kiss and then he dies, so you have no buildup of any relationship that could exist. His redemption is cut short in 2 seconds. You barely get any dialogue scene in between them whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then I literally was saying, "Don't do it," and they kiss each other. Everyone in my theater groaned. Like, it was horrible. Like, why?
So I was in Staten Island.
We don't need that.
Yeah. And
however evil.
I'm not even kidding, dude. People that were like a couple of rows back were applauding when that happened.
My God,
My theater loved it. I don't know what theater you're going to.
No, it's at my local theater.
Oh, you went to Hazard?
Yeah, well, we normally go. People were not a fan.
I don't know. And Staten Island fans were applauding.
I just didn't love it because, like,
well, then you go really late at night?
Yeah.
See, that's probably
But to me, also, it goes back to why does the female character in these movies have to have a love interest? She doesn't. She doesn't have to have a love interest.
But to me, that wasn't a love interest.
It totally was.
It wasn't a love interest.
She's been trying to bring Ben back just so she could bang him.
I disagree with that. I think she was trying to bring Ben back, and all the emotion of successfully bringing him back, of killing the Emperor, of winning, of finally ending this nightmare,
of him saving her life,
of him, and then kiss, thank you. I appreciate going on this journey with you.
I think we definitely see that in different ways.
A kiss can be platonic.
It could be, but this one wasn't.
I think it was.
In my opinion.
Well,
that's why I like having a conversation with you, because that's why we have different opinions, as you guys could. And let us know what you thought of that down below.
And it's all interpretation.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that, and I thought it would have been more, I feel like, overall, of a dislike of this movie. It's like, and I understand it might sound like I'm hating on Armand. I'm just trying to express my thoughts. There's no chances that are taken in this movie. Like, let's do things different. Let's have some more lore. Or you know what?
Let's kill Chewbacca.
Let's kill Chewie. Yeah. Or, you know what I thought would have been interesting? Rey dies. She serves her purpose. She defeats she defends her name by killing the worst thing that the galaxy has probably ever seen. And you know who lives? Kylo lives. Mm-hmm. And you know what he has to do? He has to do, unlike what Vader did, because Vader died, he has to go through his whole life making it up to everyone in the galaxy that, listen, I did a lot of effed up shit, and I killed a lot of people, okay? But I'm Ben Solo now, and I'm going to try to live and raise legacy, and my father and my mother's legacy, and I'm going to try to rebuild the galaxy. Maybe I'm not going to be a figurehead because I can't do that because of what I've done, but in the background, I'm going to be someone that's a force for good. And I thought that could have been a really interesting story plot point that they could have taken, and I feel like that's where you don't take any chances.
I would have probably preferred that ending, because it's unique.
I think that would have been interesting.
Yeah, they didn't really take many chances. They didn't. It was a safe movie.
Very safe.
Which is what you could probably expect after the 8th movie. How risky do you want to be? The 8th movie...
Right, but you know what? At this point, though, I think the 8th movie took chances, and I applaud that. I just think they took the wrong chances.
I completely agree.
Or they handled it the wrong way.
I completely agree, but that's why
that made people so scared.
That's why this movie was safe, yeah.
But you know what? For the last movie of the Skywalker trilogy, I mean, honestly, of the 9 movies of this trilogy, of the sequels, and honestly, right now, the last Star Wars movie for a while, I mean, we don't know if anything. Everything that was supposed to come out has been canceled.
Yeah.
So, for me to end it kind of on a... an okay note. I want to go out and go, man, I want to watch that 12 more times when it comes out on Disney Plus. That was fantastic. I'm left going, it was better than 8, but it was okay. Sure. Like, you know what I mean? And like 7 stands the best for me in this trilogy.
But that's also different expectations. Because you really wanted to love this movie.
Yeah, but see, no, I went into this movie with no expectations because I was so low after episode 8 that I was like, anything.
Right, but in hindsight, you just said that I wanted to watch this movie 12 times.
Right.
So in hindsight, and as
you
wanted to fall in love with it. Yeah. For me, I was just there to have a fun time, and I had a good time.
And I had a good time, I guess. But like, I'm there for the action. I thought
it was a good movie.
I'm there for the cinematography, which is totally fine. Yeah. I feel like they leave a lot of questions unanswered. They don't take any risks, and there's just some things that like they just don't do anything with any character arcs, anything. They don't take any chances whatsoever in this movie, and I really didn't enjoy that. I mean, you have other random things too, of like the Sith Wayfinder. Since when's that a thing?
They added a lot of stuff.
So, Palpatine, who wants to stay hidden on a world on Exegol. Mm-hmm. He didn't make these 2 Sith Wayfinders. They probably existed since ancient times. Why would he have them spread out where people could get to them? Wouldn't he want no one to find where he is?
He could have been in such a rush to get there after he died in his retreation that he didn't even think about it.
And so the first one, Kylo collected, right?
Yeah.
Where did the other one come from again? I don't even remember where the second one came from. Do you?
No.
They had it, or they got it from somewhere, or no? Didn't they get it from?
They got it from the
Sith dagger, and then they looked for it, right?
Yeah.
Like all that was like okay, whatever. I didn't mind that. I mean, Sith artifacts have been around for a lot of times, but they didn't explain a lot. Like it came out on Twitter that apparently in the beginning, which is a great opening scene, when Kylo's killing all those people, apparently, and you correct me if I'm wrong down below, those are Vader cultists. He's on Mustafar, and the Sith Wayfinder is in Vader's castle. And that's what he's fighting his way to get. Wouldn't that be awesome if you put the title at the bottom, Mustafar, or explained a little bit of that? Even in the opening crawl,
I was gonna say you
could have explained that instead of the Palpatine crap. Wouldn't that have been cool?
Yeah.
So, like, if that's true, and you can let me know down below, I think that's a wasted opportunity there.
Well, I think the movie definitely had missed opportunities. I mean, I'm not going to disagree.
Especially for lore, man. Like, I think that could have been some.
And if you really love lore, then this movie left a lot to be desired.
Yeah,
a lot.
I definitely think so,
but you're more into lore than someone like I am.
Yeah,
and that could also.
But you agree that would have been great, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't mind lore at all.
Yeah,
I absolutely. I do like lore, but with a universe like Star Wars. It's so massive. Like, I haven't seen Clone Wars. Like, there's not Clone Wars. That's the spin-off show.
Yeah, you should watch it.
There's a lot I haven't seen. I haven't played any of the video games. Right. So, like, if you really delve into that or like,
it's deep.
Yeah, it gets deep. And so there's already this amazing lore, and if it doesn't get expanded on in the main movie, it's like that kind of sucks.
But so speaking of, you're not into the lore as much, right?
Yeah.
From a movie perspective, don't you think that would have been something that in the movie would have been better explained?
I don't think it was necessary.
You don't think it would have brought better atmosphere to what he's doing, who he's killing, how he got the Sith Wayfinder?
It definitely could have, but
those are all plot points.
Well, something like that, I completely agree with you. But
right?
I'm saying, like, in terms of all the stuff with like Snoke and Palpatine, I feel like it's passable.
Right.
It's
definitely passable. I just feel like setting up that moment of him finding Exegol and going there, I think it would have been really cool.
Oh, I agree.
How he got there. He went back to Granddaddy's castle, and that's
I agree with that. I don't have any issue with that. I think the more intricate lore is not necessary.
That's fair enough. Another little pet peeve I had is I know they're out there on a desert planet, right, where they find that guy's ship or whatever, and you have the Sith dagger or whatever shit. The ship is on a cliff out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You're telling me that no one has scrapped this ship in 30 years?
Yeah.
Right? We see on Tatooine, Jawas. You leave your ship there for 10 hours, the whole ship's gone.
Yeah.
I know you haven't seen Mandalorian, and so spoilers for Mandalorian episode 2 down below. He leaves his ship for like a day. He comes back and Jawas have taken apart his entire ship. Remember Jawas, the little guys?
Oh yeah.
Does he kill them all? The black faces? No, he actually ends up making a deal with them because he killed some of them, and then there was too many of them, and he had to make a deal with them to get back his parts. Great show.
Yeah.
Do you have Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely watch
it.
Watch it. But that whole thing happens. How would a ship for 30 years not be deconstructed in any way and still be flyable? Like, it's like little things like that that take me out of the movie and aggravate me when I see stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then to go to, I won't even delve into it long, the whole, the healing thing of Rey. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you, for a major plot point like that, you need to have some better explanation. A couple lines of, I learned it reading those old Jedi books. I guess, Luke didn't think they were good for anything. They're good for something.
Sure.
Right? Yoda says kind of a clever line, classic Yoda, of like, there was nothing in those books that the girl Rey doesn't already possess. Yeah, it's because Yoda knew she took the book. She literally possessed the books.
Yeah.
You just don't understand that when he's saying that until you see the books later.
Right.
Because Yoda's a clever bastard.
Yeah.
Say that she learned it from him. So
sure.
You leave open things.
That was a bit of a plot point that I didn't really love. Plot hole that I didn't really love either.
Yeah.
And I felt like the healing was a little bit of a cop-out.
It definitely was a cop-out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially with how you make peace with the worm to get the dagger, then you heal Kylo, then how Kylo saves... And Kylo's saving you at the end. Okay, let's say Rey learned all that information from the book. How does Kylo know?
Yeah.
Are we going to go back to the Episode 8 novel where their Force connection allows them to replicate each other's powers? Come on.
Or maybe that's part of the relationship they have.
Right.
We didn't get any
information. But again, all that's explained in the book. You know what? As a moviegoer, and not everyone, 5% of moviegoers are probably reading that novel.
No.
Explain it in 2 lines.
Yeah.
That's what happens. That's how they said she was so good with all his skills and was able to do that, is because she had that replica force ability. Okay, well, I guess Kylo could do it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't touched on. I thought it was a plot. I thought that was a cop-out plot hole.
Definitely.
I agree with that.
Definitely. I will say, likes-wise, before we wrap it up,
yeah,
really liked Kerry Russell's bounty hunter character. I forget her name, that had clearly had some relationship with Poe back in the day, and that was heavily hinted at.
She had one of the coolest designs of these sequels.
Really liked her. It would have been cool to see Kerry Russell's face, but I was fine with just seeing her eyes. I mean, I knew it was her. I heard her voice, everything.
Yeah.
But really liked that. Would have liked if they kind of kissed at the end.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, it was a funny scene.
It was funny.
Where Poe's like, huh? And she's like, nah.
Yeah.
You know. But, like, this poor man got nothing.
Yeah.
Like, because it was weird, because, like, she was teasing him earlier where she's like, oh, we could run away together. Okay, like, it seems like it could go that way.
Yeah.
And then when all that stuff happens, you're not going to kiss him or want to be with him.
Yeah.
And again, we get no story of where she goes, of where Poe goes. Did they end up together? Where does Finn end up? Nothing.
Where does Rose end up?
But I really liked her character. I like the backstory that they gave. I know some people I saw online did not like Poe's backstory because they said, you know, he's of Latino descent. Of course, you make him the drug dealer. I don't see it that way. I think that's a little bit ridiculous of like, okay, Han Solo did spice running too and did illegal things. Like, I don't really see
I didn't even hear about that.
You know what I mean? Well, you know, like, I feel like people dive way too much in these movies of basing them off of, like, race or gender or things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. Another thing people brought up was JJ said he was going to have a openly gay character in this movie. It was that one general of Leia. You see her kiss at the end for like 3 seconds. So a lot of people complained, oh, it was only for 3 seconds. All right, but I get that, but she's not a major character. So, like, why am I going to focus on this gay relationship if she's not a major character? It's not like it's Rey. So I didn't really have a problem with that.
No, I didn't have an issue with it either. I think representation is important.
It's very important.
It's not. It's you don't want to. You know, I don't know. It's kind of a tricky situation,
because it's important, but you don't want to throw it in people's faces for unnecessary reasons.
Yeah, not even that. It also becomes very tricky in like Asian markets and in other markets. Like they had to cut that scene in Singapore, I think it was.
Yeah, and
in like other countries that are not as progressive in that way.
Which is, you know,
and that's the big reason. It is sad. Well, I completely agree with you there. That was a big reason why, like, you know, going back to another Disney property with Frozen.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, Elsa's going to be the first gay princess in Frozen. That didn't happen.
There's no way they're going to
They would never do it.
And I never have a problem with representation of any kind.
No.
When I have a problem with it is when it does not serve any of the story. Yeah. It feels like it doesn't fit in, and it feels like the studio made you throw it in.
Like, a great example is in Endgame, where they were talking in that circle after Thanos' snap had gone off. And I believe in that circle with Captain America, there were two gay men that were in a relationship, right? And they were going on a date.
Yes, and one of them was actually the director, Joe Russo.
Oh, really?
It was Joe.
And that scene felt completely natural. It felt completely, like, there was no issue with that at all.
And people still complain that wasn't enough representation. We're getting there because they basically confirmed that Valkyrie is a bisexual character.
Yeah.
And Tessa Thompson is obviously going to be a major character in these movies.
Mm.
So,
well, and people think Captain Marvel might be too.
Yeah, I don't think she is, but like, but we're getting that with these characters. If it serves the story, if it feels natural, like the CW shows, I think does a great job with a lot of their gay and homosexual characters. Of it feels natural. It feels like, I want to say it just feels right, you know, like the way they did Alex and like Supergirl. If you watch that, I thought you could watch my reaction to that on the channel. Though it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But when you do it in ways like this, and then you go, oh, it doesn't have enough representation. Okay, but she wasn't a major character.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the end of the day, there was a war going on where people were dying. We're not focusing on love stories.
Well, that's the thing.
Right?
There's really barely any romance in this movie.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I hated the kiss even more. And that was a completely heterosexual kiss, and I hated it. Yeah. I thought it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that.
Celebration.
So, any other thoughts or
or
scenes you want to wrap up episode 9?
No, I definitely not as polarizing as 8. I feel where you have the split.
Definitely not amongst fans. However, that, like as you alluded to, that critic fan thing switched.
Critics hate it.
These last 2 movies, nobody's happy.
No,
we can't get both sides happy.
No.
It's kind of a sad way to end this whole Skywalker saga. I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. We're gonna jump into ratings.
Oh shit!
Give me a rating.
Just make sure this is.
We're still going, bro.
Yeah, we're still going. Boy,
think about it a lot, right?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna give it an 8.
You give it an 8?
I'm going to give it an 8. I mean, I got to just be honest. I really like this movie. I think you bring up good points. I understand the reasonings to not like the movie.
Yeah.
The retconning, the missed opportunities, especially, and the whole, Rey Skywalker scene. But a lot of that, especially that scene at the end, it didn't bother me. I didn't think it was fantastic cinematography, but it didn't bother me. And at the end of the day, I thought it was a good, solid conclusion that, for the most part, answered enough questions to satisfy me and conclude the Skywalker saga. Maybe not, I would have loved to give this a 9.8 like I gave Endgame, or, it wasn't nearly at an Avengers movie, but an 8 is still, I really enjoyed it. It's not a fantastic piece for me. That's a 9 and above.
Yeah.
And I was debating between 7.5 and 8, but I'm going to give it an 8. I thought it was a fun movie. The battle scene between Rey and Kylo on the ship.
They had a couple battle scenes.
Yeah, the one on the ship with the water. I thought that was one of, if not maybe the best battle scene.
The long one too was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
That was a good one.
Not as long, obviously, as Obi-Wan Anakin, but I would see right up there. One of the longer lightsaber fights.
Great fight scenes. Yeah. And then just. Again, one of my favorite moments from the franchise, when all the important Jedi are talking to her as she has to stand up.
There's a clip I got to show you where someone went back and they
showed the faces.
They show all the
faces.
I've seen it. Great, right?
Because I love that scene, so I looked it up. Yeah, and it just had a lot of really fun scenes. Finn, there were disappointments. Finn was a disappointment, but anyway, I'm going to give it an 8.
Before I get into rating, speaking of disappointments, I will say we alluded to earlier, General Hux, man. General Hux, you have this man I thought was a great character in episode 7. You make him basically into a comedic character in episode 8, and just everyone kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah.
In episode 9, to have him be the rebel spy, and to have that whole moment go on there. Oh, I don't care who wins, I just hate Kylo. Okay, I know some people said that was corny, but that's justified. He really does hate Kylo. We've been building up since 7. To have him immediately... after the funny scene where he says, shoot me in the arm, and Finn shoots him in the leg, to have immediately the scene after that, a Legion general just kill him, I thought it was a complete disservice to that character. I really did not enjoy that. That was definitely a dislike.
Well, so I loved the betrayal that it was him, because I thought it was completely justified in that shot. As you say, I thought it was completely justified. I don't know. I didn't really mind that scene. I feel like he had served his purpose at that point.
See, I love that scene. I just thought it would have been better if he kind of switched to the rebellion side and did a very Agent Callus thing from Rebels, of where he kind of he straight up goes from the Empire in that case to the Rebels. This would be from the First Order to the Resistance, kind of Finn-like. To just kill him off for comedic purposes instantaneously.
Well, I think it also shows, though, that he was greedy, that he believed that he could still be of use to the rebels by faking out everyone and still getting information, and he got greedy. He could have left with them if he wanted to. He could have. But he got greedy.
And I do think as well...
I think that speaks to a human greed.
True,
almost.
And I think it also shows that the First Order and that general wasn't stupid. I mean, they immediately didn't believe him.
Well, that's what I loved. By the way, tell Kylo we found the traitor. Yeah. I mean, that was I loved it.
So, like...
I
just felt like that character could have been done better, the same way I feel about the Knights of Ren, that, like, they're cool, all that stuff. But as soon as Kylo gets a lightsaber, he annihilates them all. I feel like there could have been a little bit more done.
Sure.
We don't have to go to backstory of every single character. They could have said a couple lines or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm excited to hear your rating.
I've definitely been jumping between, I would say, a 6.5 and a 7. I'm going to give this movie a 7. I'm going to go on the positive side.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to be closer to like 5.
No, I'm going to give it a 7. That's kind of 4.5, 5 is where I feel with Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I feel like it does enough things to wrap up the Skywalker saga. I think it retcons, sometimes a little too fan servicey, but retcons enough of the things I didn't like, especially the lightsaber throwing scene from episode 8. I like how it does that, and I like how it treats the character of Luke in this movie. You get a little bit of Harrison Ford back. I've loved Adam Driver's Kylo throughout these movies. I do like Daisy Ridley's Rey. I think she's just too powerful and it's not explained enough, but sure. I like the character. I like Finn, even though he doesn't really have an arc. Poe's my favorite private character out of the new ones. I like what they did with Leia. Chewie's obviously fantastic once again. And, we see C-3PO and R2-D2.
We didn't even talk about
that. He had his whole moment of C-3PO was, he went back to the beginning there where he didn't know where anyone is. People said it would have been cool if R2 reset his memories and he remembered the prequels and started talking about the story all throughout there. So he started reciting the prequels, then the originals, and then all. I think that would have been really cool.
Funny.
So there's another missed opportunity there. Some people also said that, R2 doesn't have that in his databanks. Remember, they only wiped C-3PO in Episode 3. They didn't touch R2-D2.
Right.
So I like what they did with the droids as well. And I thought overall, the best parts of the movie are all the characters are finally together interacting with each other. It feels like, as they said, the actors, when they were making this movie, that everyone's for the first time is together and going on a journey together. And to wrap up everything of having Ben come back to the light and have all those moments, kiss aside, to have Emperor Palpatine, I would give it a 7. I think that's kind of where I'm going to feel on it. Still, favorite movie out of these this new trilogy is Episode 7. I will still say that.
If you were to do top 9, where would you rank this one?
Ooh.
Real quick. It
would be on the spot right here?
It'd be kind of on the top of your head.
I definitely... Not including anthology films, just the
not including anthology.
It might make the top 5. It might be 5 or 6.
Okay, I think for me it's probably 4 or 5.
Because definitely in the top 5 is the original trilogy, all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith is also in there, so I might put this at 5.
Okay,
I might put this at 5, and then
I'd probably have this at 4. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. I mean, because I think I might have it at 6 because I think I might put Force Awakens at 5, and then I'll put this at 6, and then I probably jump around to
1, 2, 8.
Phantom Menace, Last Jedi, and then Attack of the Clones.
1, 8, 2. Okay.
Yeah. Just because there's some things
that's
I like.
My bottom 3. Too,
I like what Qui-Gon in Episode 1, even though I can't stand Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah,
and Last Jedi has some good moments. It's just there's a lot of there's just some things there. But that's probably where I would go there. So
you throw Rogue One into it. Rogue One might be my favorite.
Rogue One's probably in my top 5. I would include it.
Rogue One's probably
where I would put Han Solo at the back end.
Han Solo would be very deep down. I mean, Rogue One might be number 1 for me, honestly.
Rogue One's great.
I love it.
That might be in my top 3.
Yeah,
not gonna lie. That honestly,
it was phenomenal.
I saw people talking the other day. It feels like the only Disney-made movie so far out of these 5 movies that they've made that feels like the original stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. It just feels like you're in that world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does a great job connecting to Episode 4. Have you ever watched them? Rogue One and then Episode 4 back to back?
No.
It's great.
But I can imagine.
Great. Flows right in. It's awesome. But guys, that's kind of our thoughts here. A very long review, as you would expect, on Episode 9. This man's getting up. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the final movie in this episodic 9-episode journey of the Skywalker saga. Let us know what you thought down below. It's a very controversial movie once again. Probably not as bad as 8.
Definitely not.
But still has a lot of controversy out there, guys. Let us know your likes, your dislikes. Give us your rating down below. Any other plot holes or characters or scenes that you like or dislike that we missed, please comment it down below. We would love to hear your thoughts. And kind of where do you rank your top 9 movies?
Yeah, give us your top 9.
I want to know your top 9 from best to worst. I'm interested to see what the people say out there. And any other thoughts, predictions, theories you guys have going forward for the Star Wars universe, because right now it's pretty unclear.
Yeah.
We got shows coming up. We got Mandalorian, and that's over in Season 2 next year. The Cassian Andor series. So your boy from Rogue One, Cassian Andor, he'll get his own show. You definitely got to watch that.
Yeah, I will be watching that.
We get Obi-Wan coming. That's really it. No movies right now. So let us know where you think the future of the Star Wars universe is going. We would love to hear your thoughts. Like the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends if you'd be so kind. And until next movie review, guys, thanks for watching.
Thank you.